sweaty, miserable hewlet that sits before you to sit. I'm sitting. Because frankly, standing is too much of an effort now after that frickin' yoga madness. What is that back there? Is that that's the furnace room you can see back there. I didn't realize that. So what do you think of the fungus? Huh? Look at our little mushrooms go. Fungus, not a mushroom. Is that mushrooms? No, they're what are they? Mycelium? I don't know. God, I should probably look this up, shouldn't I? Look at my little beasts. They are growing. It's like a little land of mushrooms here. They are going to be so delicious. Little butter and like a giant portion of bacon. they're going to be delicious. Hello, Lindsay. How are you? My gosh, my hair looks like my mushrooms. I look like I'm a part of my mushrooms, don't I? It's like almost like I could be growing on the side of a plant. Hello, Maker Viking. Hello, beautiful rot. Beautiful rot. Amy Sanford. Shan. Orange Joel. Angel. Kenny. Trevor. Shari. Lindsay. Eva. Baz. Is it Baz or Bass? Are you going with Bass or what? Yeah. Sam Bowen says, "Oh, that's cool. Not a huge fan of mushrooms, but growing them seems neat. They're just cool. Like they're just like it's like growing aliens in your basement. I just think they're really extraordinary looking things, and they grow so freaking fast. And at such there's such a huge volume to these things. Like I mean, there's a weight of mushrooms there." From like a pile of old coffee grounds. I'm just really impressed with it. From hello Moose Dog, hello Sam. I'm just really impressed with the amount of protein you can get out of these things. And I guess they create a lot of CO2, I suppose. But other than that, I'd have to look into the rest of it. I've started doing the Odin's mushroom growing course, and oh my god, the instructor is freaking great. He's obviously like completely impassioned with the idea of mushrooms, and it's very catching, I've got to say. There's all these photos of him out with his kid in the forests, grabbing these massive, lion's manes and what were they, and golden buttons or something, whatever they're called. Just these amazing looking mushrooms, and there's a few. Are they funguses of some sort? I don't know what they're these kind of almost like truffle-like things. And apparently you don't get the pigs to do the truffles anymore. You train dogs for it because of course the pigs want to eat the truffles, whereas the dogs just want to find them for you and get a treat. So it sounds like a fun guy, doesn't it? Dad, I don't want to go walking in the woods looking for mushrooms again. So I guarantee you I wouldn't be allowed to do it. Because I can go for a walk. Jane will be more than happy to see me exercise. She's the one who dragged me into yoga today. It was like, what's it called? It was called not hip hop, it was a bebop. Was it bebop? Kind of like a bebop or something. Like it was this it's for Black History Month. They're doing all of these sort of black music influences and stuff. And I guess it was bebop or go-go. That was it, go-go. It was a go-go yoga. And oh my God, it was like I was a no-go yoga. Pigs have a stronger sense of smell, don't they? Do they? I don't know. I mean, I think part of it is the pigs are designed to go and find these things because that's what they like to eat. Whereas dogs, maybe they're not as good at it, but they also you also don't have to wrestle the boar to the ground trying to get the truffle out of its mouth. Oh, that's a giant coffee, by the way, just so everyone knows. Morning, Indy. Moose Dog says, yeah, Zelenka hair. Yeah, it's funny. It is kind of Zelenka hair, isn't it? It's just, this is, pandemic hair. It's sort of shameful. So as of, what is it? Oh, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. So I do some filming tomorrow, so I'm going to have my FBI haircut tomorrow. So I'll probably be looking slightly less of a mess when I next see you. I think I'll have time to exercise before I get called to set tomorrow. I think I'm in last up tomorrow. So that means I'll just do a lot of sitting around on set, probably writing Tech Bandits missives and things like that. So hello, Balas Corsaris. So I've just been reading I've been doing a lot of studying of this mushroom stuff because of the Odin course. They've sent me, so I signed up for this thing called, on the Odin called the Mushroom Cultivation. And it comes with a kit. This is not it, by the way. This is what inspired me to take the Odin course. This is just a thing that came for Christmas, and it's a little block of inoculated coffee grounds that will grow. You just cut little holes in it, and the spores. No, not the spores. I guess it was the mycelium themselves. Basically, the mushrooms are made up of these fibers that, if you can inoculate things, if you can have them grow on other things, they will grow into mushrooms, and then they grow up towards the oxygen in the hopes of then creating these nice little caps and spores and stuff. So really, really neat stuff. But if you want to get really into it, you can. This would be basically cloning mushrooms. But you can also, it seems, some people can actually use spores and create them that way. But this, I think, is more about the actual cloning of these mushrooms. But it comes with this. This kit comes with. Oh, Lego! I forgot about my Lego. I'll have to tell you about that sometime too. So it comes with, wood shavings. Let's see, are they special in any way? They're a hemp substrate. There you go. There you go. I've got Petri dishes. I've got little inoculation syringes. I've got, what's this? I've got some grains. I've got some grains here. So what we'll do is I will sterilize these grains, and then they grow on the grains. Apparently they're very good. It's a good medium for them to grow in. Also, I got a bunch of these Petri dishes. You get Petri dishes and gloves and all sorts of stuff. The idea here is that you're creating agar plates. So he's suggesting, this particular mushroom fan is suggesting that you use the agar with a coconut water. And that creates a nice surface for these things to grow on. They go and they grow on these things. Then you transplant them from here into whatever else you want to inoculate. Like, it can be anything from these the grains that came with it to the wood chips, the hemp chips, or even logs. You can get, you literally just bore a hole in a log, shove this stuff in there, and then they grow out. So it's just kind of, it's all very sort of like alien and cool to me. And I thought that if it's alien and cool to me, it might be alien and cool to my tech bandits. So I thought I'd sign up for this stuff. And also, as I say, I have to sneak in and actually buy the stuff from the Odin, because Josiah is such a freaking great guy. He wants to give you everything for free. So I want to support him. So I don't tell him I'm buying this stuff, and I go online and I buy it online so that he gets some money, because I can only imagine what it's like in a pandemic trying to sell this stuff. I never knew he was doing this. I guess I could turn on notifications. Oh, I don't know. Look, it's a weird thing. So a bunch of people have been unsubscribed from the channel. They were complaining that they've been unsubscribed for some reason. I don't know why that's happened. I don't know why. Sometimes there are notifications, sometimes there aren't. YouTube is freaking weird, especially with the live stuff. I don't even know, like, the live stuff is it's a different department than the rest of the other stuff. So I don't really know how it works. All I know is I enjoy doing this. It's kind of fun to be on YouTube for a change. And I'm really enjoying the little chats we've been having. So I thought, I'll keep this going. I'd like to do some more Twitch stuff. I had a great chat with a friend yesterday. Well, my new friend Lance, who goes by Gimpy God online. He is looking to improve some assistive tech that he's working with, and so I'm sort of trying to get in the way, basically, and see if there's any sort of stuff that we can work on together with that. Really interesting, funny guy. With just a crazy life story. So you have to go check him out. He's Gimpy God. And he's got a 3090 GPU. I'm just saying, he's got a 3090. God, I was so jealous. I was trying very hard not to be a little bit jealous of that. So he's got a kick-ass PC set up. He is a World of Warcraft player. He is looking to, again, get back into gaming again now. He wants to start doing some more Twitch streaming and stuff. And one of the things that I love about Tech Bandits and the whole idea of engaging with people online is that I get to meet all of these different people who are all doing different cool things, and I'm hoping that maybe some of those people will help make this possible or easier for him, because he wants to do gaming and possibly some chatting, I guess, some just chatting stuff, old science and math teacher. Although math, I think, was the predominantly what he was up to. Anyways, I'm gonna invite him to come by Tech Bandits at some point, or maybe we'll just have a chat together and we can all dive in together. But we met through Barnacles. Thank you, Barnacles. Woohoo, Barnacles! So go check out Barnacles as well on either YouTube or Twitch. We'll be seeing you hopefully this weekend again, depending on filming. But I think I'm okay for filming. I think I'm going to be okay for doing tech talk again this week. I hope so. I'd like to. All right. So who has mushroom kits too? Who else is doing mushrooms here? Is that? Pretty Kitty says, we have mushroom kits too. The leftovers we put in the logs around the farm. Oh, cool. Hopefully we'll have wild ones popping up next year and the years after. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, like, the ones, because I'm in an urban farm. I'm in an urban farming environment. In other words, I'm in my freaking basement. So, and someone was asking about the smell. Really none. The only thing that smells really bad, other than me after my exercise, is some of the stuff the fermenting stuff I was playing with. And then I also, not knowing how to grow mushrooms, I tried growing them from cuttings. It didn't work. So that's pretty stinky. You got to get rid of that. But no, it's not really smelly at all at this point. Although apparently CO2, if you have large amounts of them, you got to make sure you're supposed to be a sterile environment, and this is certainly not a sterile environment. And I've got to look into some way of figuring that out. I mean, I'm not going to have like a clean room, but I'm wondering about maybe creating a little cabinet for these things that are maybe almost like an aquarium type thing that I can use and put some gloves in to get access to them and things. So a glove box, as they would call it. So I thought, so I thought that'd be kind of fun to play with. Kits, growing them outside. Yeah. So, but growing them inside as opposed to having a farm, which I would love. Like if I was in my dear Warwickshire right now, I would be out there looking for logs and putting all sorts of stuff in there and growing in the garden for sure. I mean, that'd be fantastic. I'd be doing a lot of fun outdoorsy things, I think, actually, sciencey outdoorsy things. And I'm trying to talk my wife and child into joining me and perhaps moving back there at some point. But I just think it'd be a great base of operations. You're in the middle of Warwickshire, you're in like Shakespeare country, you've got access to London, you got internet, so I can do all my stupid auditions and stuff, fly out if I need to, once all this is over. And hopefully never have to fly out because I would be home just doing streaming and growing mushrooms and raising pigs and things and having tractors. So yeah, but barring that, I'm in my urban environment. So what you're basically doing is growing mushrooms in bags. So you grow them in the bags and you can hang the bags from the ceiling or whatever. This guy, to save the cost of cabinets, was just hanging them, like wiring them to the ceiling, which I thought was just a brilliant idea. And then they grow out of the side because the mushrooms, they leave the areas of high concentrations of CO2 and they move into more an oxygenated area. That seems, yeah, the buzz has gone. Oh, is it that stupid? Yeah. The buzz, there's probably a lot of noise in the background because of the furnace, and I can't turn that off because we'll freeze to death because we live in Toronto, Canada. Isn't it lovely? What a lovely change from California. I need a bigger basement. I do. I've got a giant table that I salvaged in one of my geek trash runs. God, it just embarrasses my family to no end. I mean, I keep thinking how funny it would be for like a Stargate fan to look out their window and see Rodney McKay rummaging through their garbage and going, "Ooh, look at this." So I found this massive old table that someone had thrown out because it was like rusty and gross and had spiders on it. So I brought all those rusty, gross spiders home, put them in my garage. I just need to clean it off. It's so freaking cold that the water would just freeze at this point. But maybe I can sort of dust it off, bring it in, warm up the spiders, and then I've got a little bit more space because I do need my little bio bench is kind of small and I'm not very good at using my space wisely. So I tend to need more space to spread out. So I think I will have to look into that at some point. I'm debating whether to get rid of my torture device. I've had this elliptical machine for ages and I used it as one knows, because of my burn alerts, I used it for a good chunk of time and kind of loved it, but it is definitely getting old and creaky. And it takes up a lot of room. So I'm contemplating, it may be time, oh, dear friend, How I hated you. So I don't know, but it depends. Maybe that said, I feel like any exercise I can get at this point, I'll jump at. So today, Jane was doing yoga. I thought, you know what, I'll leap onto that. It's a little longer actually than normally would be my exercise. So yeah. Hello, Rebel. Good morning to you. The torture device. I felt that. Oh my God, the torture device. It's just, I mean, it's that love hate, right? I mean, it's the machine that got me slightly fit, and then I hated every second of it. Neat 3D printer in the background. What type is it? That, my friend, is the original Prusa. Fantastic beast of a machine. On my other shoulder is the Sane Smart, which is another just extraordinary little beast that I will be playing with, I think, very soon, because there's some stuff I need to do, I think, for my dad. Yoga is the best exercise. I know, Mary Lou, I was so surprised at that. It doesn't, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's some stupid macho male thing, but I never ever understood yoga, and I feel silly doing it. Let's face it, I look silly doing it, and my balance sucks, and you know, and I feel like exercise should consistently hurt. There should be high impact and that kind of, that's the way I feel about exercise. So yoga always feels like I'm cheating, but then at the end of it, it's like, oh my God, everything hurts. Things I don't know hurt. Induction break. What's that? What's the induction brake for? If you go backwards on the elliptical, it's less hard on the knees. Oh, that's interesting, Candace, because I would do 50% of my workout would be in the forward motion and 50% in the backwards motion. And the only reason why I did that was because apparently Mick Jagger does that, and apparently he has a bottom that women admire. So I thought I would like a bottom that women admire. So I shall walk backwards on my elliptical machine as well. But thank you for that tip. And I got to say bottom a lot, which I really like to do. It's bottom, bottom, bottom. Okay, goat yoga is the best. Lean back and watch the goats not do yoga. I like it, Zippo. Induction brake, regenerative braking. So what? The idea that that as it breaks, it generates electricity. That's the concept behind that? That's in the cars, isn't it? Anyone else currently experiencing a crazy snowstorm? The snow here in Scotland is up to my damn knees. We had a bit of snow, a little bit of snow, but not, it's Canada. Like, we're used to that. Scotland, you just get nailed with everything. Have you tried planks? Oh my God, I do planks. Yeah, we do planks. Good God, we do planks. I do side planks. Have you done Spider-Man planks? Yeah, talk to me when you've done Spider-Man planks. Look those suckers up. So you're planking, and then you got to bring your legs up like you're climbing a building like Spider-Man. And let me tell you, a few of those, and you hate Tom Holland more than you've ever hated him. Hello, Johnny. Pretty Kitty says, overcast. Everyone's talking weather now. Let's talk about the weather. What's the weather like there? What have you made with your 3D printer? Oh, everything from Flexi Rexies. So I did a bunch of little flexible toys that you can only make with a 3D printer because the parts are embedded. Like, you can't put them together. They are literally printed around each other, so you can't break them. And they're a series of toys that I felt would be kind of fun for the kids over at McCordick, which is a school for developmental and physical disability. So I went and took a few of them over there. They seem to be kind of a big hit. When I went back the next time, I kept seeing these little Flexi Rexies all over the place, which is kind of cool. So did a bunch of those. I'm going to start with the important things. I'll start with the things that make it sound like I'm doing really important things with my 3D printer, and then I'll get onto the stuff that I actually do more of. We did a bunch of PPE for Michael Guerin, the Tech Bandits. I sort of basically told the Tech Bandits about it, and I printed out a bunch of these face shield things, which I hope were of some use. I mean, apparently they were used. I didn't do nearly as much as like there's some people who've just been like Prusa, for example, who did some amazing stuff. Pooch, Repcore has been running around doing amazing stuff. So if anyone's into 3D printing, support Prusa, support Repcore, because they're doing great stuff. They're doing great stuff at great expense and trouble to themselves to help people. So these were little. I wonder if I have one kicking around somewhere. I do. I got one for you. So basically, they're these little. This is a small one. This is like for little heads. But basically, the idea is that this would go on your head. There'd be a plastic sheet that just pops into these little things here. And I just, I printed off 30 or 40 of those, and I only had the one machine, so it did take a while. And as I say, I'm not I'm by no means a pro at this stuff. I got better at it. And I just had to do them in orange because I wanted them to be sort of representative of both the Tech Bandits, which is sort of an orange color, and also, of course, my old battle horse, which is the Prusa. I cannot recommend it enough. I gotta say. I mean, I sound like a freaking ad, but I bought that with my own hard-earned money. That one. And I freaking love it. Bought it from the kit, been using it nonstop. I built I had the kids design some little things in Tinkercad, like just whimsical little stupid little things that they wanted to do. I would never say stupid to them, of course. Silly little tchotchkes and things. But some of them had some really neat design stuff. So I would print them out and then take them around to the kids in the neighborhood because this is all at the local school. Now that we're sort of online, it's sort of hard to do that. But one of the things I hope in the future to be able to do is set up a way for them to maybe octoprint and log in and print their own stuff, and I could sort of pop in and have a look at them if they need to, and just really give them. I would like kind of like a little sort of idea factory for kids to be available sort of all hours of the day or night, because that's how I approach this stuff. I mean, I can't sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll come down and putter around down here or whatever. What I'd like to be able to do is also putter around in the garage, make it sort of somewhat able to survive it, because right now it's so freaking cold, and the only thing living there is probably a bunch of raccoons, probably a skunk or two, and a bunch of squirrels. A lot of squirrels. Man, those squirrels get around. In fact, squirrels that look like skunks. How about that? Yeah, we got a squirrel that looks like a skunk living in our garage. I'm kind of impressed. So basically, whatever's happened, something's happened in its genetic makeup that it's got a ring, a white ring around its tail, and I think it's going to be it's genetic brilliance, really, because that squirrel is going to be left alone in a way that none of his friends are. So there you go. Are your rusty spiders? Oh my God, my rusty spiders. The funny thing about spiders is I was terrified of spiders. A true arachnophobia of spiders. I thought that I was never going to go to Australia because of the spiders there. And yet when I got there, it's just such a part of people's lives there. You don't give it a second thought. I mean, you do give it a second thought, and then a third thought, and a fourth thought. In fact, I had a whole app that told me what spiders I was allowed to be close to and not, and I chose not to be close to any of them. I just don't choose the company of spiders generally. And then my friends, amazing couple who are professors at University of Toronto here. In fact, she does an amazing podcast, which he laughs at her for because she sounds like NPR. It really is an NPR-worthy podcast called The New Normal, and her name is Mediane Andra, and she's on, if you look up University of Toronto, Mediane Andra, The New Normal, she's got an amazing podcast where she talks about, it's about science, about culture, about sort of race and education. I just a truly brilliant and like lovely couple that we are very, very fortunate to be friends with and in the neighborhood with. She so her specialty is black widow spiders. Well, how cool is that? And his specialty is like crickets. Like, so he's all about he's honestly, his specialty is like, he's just amazingly very good at researching everything. I mean, he's just, the specificity of what he does is all about the audio abilities of these insects, and his work will inform things like sonar and radar and how do tiny little flies hear the sound of crickets, that the waves, the sound waves that they make are too big to be picked up by these little tiny animals, and how do they locate the sounds and things. Just, again, two brilliant, extraordinary, funny, lovely people. And what was the point of this? And I'm very lucky because my son just happens to be best friends with their kid, and so I'm able to have them as friends. Hello, dog. Are you? Oh, hi. How you doing? Did somebody have a cup of coffee? Here we go. There's a very excited dog here. What's up, buddy? There you go. Yeah. I think what happened was she wanted to be outside until she didn't, and then she was still out there. So I put her out for a little run around, and of course now she's been let in, and now she's going to make my life misery. Anyways, so the point about the spiders thing was just that. So he very, very kindly came to tech bandits on one occasion, and we set up his laser Doppler vibrometer, which is a laser that converts motion into sound. And so you're basically listening to black widow spiders as they rub their mandibles on, or whatever they're called, on the web, or they eat a cricket that you've just given it. And so we brought like 5 or 6 of these black widow spiders into a public school, and we don't have a room there. Like there's no room. There was no room for us in the inn. So all of my tech bandit stuff was being set up basically in a hallway at lunch. So you got kids going back and forth. We're set up in the corner. We got this giant speaker system and this laser vibrometer and black widow spiders, and we're blasting out the sounds that they make. And it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And talk about engagement. Talk about kids going, whoop, what? All of a sudden, everyone was interested in science when it comes to black widow spiders. And my time with these spiders completely changed my perspective on them. I mean, these are truly spiders to be scared of. I mean, they pack a punch like very few other spiders. I mean, there are more poisonous ones, but these are nasty suckers to get bitten by. And especially with the kids and stuff. So we had we had like a piece of tape, and they couldn't cross the line, all that kind of stuff. But so the teachers were freaking out. I had one come in and say, like, my students have a rumor that there are black widows in the school, and I just want to make sure that I can tell them that's not the case. And I was like, you can safely tell them that there are black widows in the school right now. She's like, what? So of course her whole class came to have a look too, and it was just awesome. It was freaking amazing. I cannot thank I can't thank Andrew enough and Mady Ann for making that happen, because it was just, oh my God, it was like a highlight for me. Anyways, I came away from that just so admiring these beautiful, like, it's like if I was a god, and I'm not saying I'm not, if I was a god and I was designing a spider to look like a kick-ass deadly spider, that's what you would make a black widow look like. It's almost this gunmetal black, and that red patch, and just the legs, and it just, oh man. But then you see how they don't give a crap about us. They're not worried. They're like, they would do anything rather than bite us. I mean, they're only going to bite you if you're like applying pressure to them and their bodies, or you've got your finger on their egg sac or something. I mean, it's almost by accident they're going to bite you. I mean, it'll happen, and you have to respect them. But I just came away from there going like, they're beautiful. I mean, they're just freaking beautiful. So I'm trying very, very hard to sort of overcome my own fear of these things. And that's also my excuse for not dusting in the basement. Because I don't want to kill the spiders. So like we have a few little spider webs and stuff that normally I'd be like, and I'd like crush them. Now I either like gently escort them outside. I still can't have them running around on my hands. I can't do it. I've tried. I can't do it. It's the sudden motions. I just can't. Yeah. Anyways, but I'm working on it. And yeah, it's just kind of neat. I just like, when I find one, I'll often throw it under the microscope so I can just have a look and then let it go. It's just, yeah, it's amazing. When you start a podcast, you should do one. Yeah. I mean, the weird thing about podcasts is the brown recluse. Oh my God, those suckers. Yeah. Those are nasty. Have I seen Luca the spider? I don't think I have. Spiders do not like you putting your foot in their shoe house. Yes, very good point. Well, that was something that I learned when I was in Australia, is you shake your freaking shoes before you put them on. You want to make sure nothing's in there. Snakes, I'm okay with snakes. I mean, I've had to handle a few because of work, and a few because of play. I don't mind snakes. Yeah, snakes don't really freak me out. I mean, rattlers, rattlesnakes, I literally ran into a few of them while I was literally running in the hills of the Hollywood Hills, actually. I used to run up to the Hollywood sign and back again, listening to Eminem and thinking, I'm going to make it. One day I'm going to make it. You're never going to find me sitting in a basement with a bunch of mushrooms talking to people like a homeless man. Yeah, so I would have these great runs up through the hills up there, and there were rattlesnakes all over the place there. There's a certain time of the season when they'd be out. And the babies, I learned, were actually more dangerous because they have no control over the poison flow. So if you get bitten by a regular snake, they regulate. They go like, okay, that's like, what are we saying? Like maybe maybe 300 pounds. Let's nail him with that much. And then I got to save a little bit left for later. Whereas the little guys are just like, oh man, bite and just like everything I got. So it'll just wipe you. It's just terrible. So, and yeah, it's, but again, extraordinary creatures, just not ones that I would rather stay rather sort of far away from. I remember taking the dog off the trails when I first got there, and we're roaming around. I'm feeling all manly and stuff, and I'm in the wilds of. I mean, like I'm literally like half a mile from the Hollywood sign. There's like helicopters and stuff, but I'm feeling very outdoorsy, and the dog starts making this really weird noise. Almost like a rattle, breathing, like having trouble breathing. And I thought like, oh, this is really weird. And I look and it's like, do it again. Like I couldn't get Mars to do it again. And then I heard it again. And I was like, that's not coming from the dog. That's coming from, and I look around and I have like literally just stepped over a giant rattlesnake. Like, I mean, I didn't know they got that big. I thought they were little things. I'd only seen little things. This was like fat. This is a big, fat, horrible looking thing, which maybe it looked bigger because I'm such a coward. But I look around and I've knelt down to investigate this terrible dog problem that I thought I had, to discover that I literally presented my bottom. I get to say bottom again. I presented my bottom. My ass was facing this giant rattlesnake who was really pissed off because the dogs walked over him. Now I've walked over him, and then I lower this massive moon of a butt towards its ready fangs, and I thought, oh my God, they're gonna be like, I can see the paper, like actor from the 80s found dead with terrible venom in his bottom. Like it just like, what was he doing? What was he doing out there? Sitting on rattlesnakes? Anyways, so I did exactly, so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to move slowly, obviously, not startle them, none of this stuff. So I thought about all these things I was supposed to do, and then I screamed and ran. Literally screamed and ran. That's what I did. I have no idea whether it tried to bite me or not. I didn't look back. I ran and continued running until I found a path, and then I went home, and I may not have left the house for a while. And then the dog could just freaking go outside the back for a bit there. I was so freaked out. Yes, gorilla, just like that. So that was it. I didn't just run. I screamed and ran. Like if I was a snake, I would have bitten me. I would have chased me, biting me. All right, that is scary. I don't know how scary I was, but it was scary at the time, let me tell you. Oh, dear coffee. Aren't you wonderful? Okay, so what else do I have to tell you? Lego. Let me tell you about Lego, my friends. So here was my evil plan. And it was a carefully conceived plan to get me Lego. And the idea was, I have bought a little bit of Ethereum. And I bought the Ethereum to see how it would do, and it's doing quite well, I gotta say. I'm surprised. I mean, certainly I didn't lose it all, which I thought I would do. And literally, it's a couple $100 worth of this stuff. So I thought, wait a second. I want the kids to realize when we talk about investing, about what is really investing. All you're doing is you are assigning value to things. Like, what is the value of these mushrooms? I mean, basically invaluable, but what is the value of these mushrooms to people? What is the value of this chat to people? What is the value of Ethereum, a cryptocurrency, or Bitcoin, or Doge, which I now own some. Thank you very much, Barnacules. I only own it because Barnacules gave it to me. I would never buy the stuff, but it's just kind of cute to be a part of the Doge thing, and the kids think it's very cool. So I thought I'll buy an equal amount of Lego figures. So I buy Ethereum, I buy Lego figures, and let's see how much the Lego figures accrue in value as you go along. So I thought I bought like 16 of these little minifigure bags, the little surprise bags, and I thought I would do openings of them, and then we could track the value of these items as they go along. And then I went a little crazy, and I got some other ones as well that I thought could be kind of cool, including the spaceman, and there's like a little satellite and a spaceman. I thought they were kind of cool. What else did I get? There was like a tiny little Millennium Falcon and a Han Solo. Couldn't resist that. Another funky little guy from the Lego movie that I thought was cool. So I went a little crazy, but again, all under the under the yeah, guys is probably the best way of putting it, of education. So there you go. So I'm investing in Lego figures now, is what I say. I'm not collecting Lego figures, nor am I obsessing or being a nerd. I am, in fact, investing in Lego figures and teaching the kids the importance and the intricacies of what things are valued and how to value things and where where value lies. So there you go. And then I'll start on the Magic the Gathering cards. Of which we had a very, very kind person sent me a box of old Magic the Gathering cards the other day. We had a lot of fun going through that as well. Okay, hello from Russia. Hello, Russia. How is Russia doing? How is Russia doing? My gosh, there's a lot going on with Russia right now. Print a Tech Bandit Lego, man. Kenny Ken, it's a good point. You know what's neat about the Lego stuff is if you play with Tinkercad, which is the Autodesk sort of beginner's 3D printing software, 3D design software, which I think is really important, honestly, for kids. I think honestly, why don't I just keep saying honestly? It makes me sound like I'm completely lying. I really think that 3D design skills are like essential for kids growing up because they impact every different part of any job that they could be involved in, whether it's medical or gaming or mathematics or aerospace, engineering, any of these things. They all require medicine. They all require some kind of 3D modeling. So I really feel like these are skills that the kids need. And of course, do you really want to learn? I mean, you learn the specifics of one program, and then by the time they're graduated, it's a whole other program. Anyways, Tinkercad just makes it very, very simple. It's browser based, so you can use it. And what's nice about it is you can design things for 3D printing. But what if you don't have a 3D printer? So I was like, what do you do if you can't 3D print? What do people do? Well, they have another thing which not a lot of people know about, where you can export your 3D model into Lego. So it will give you the Lego pieces needed to build what you've just created in a 3D form in Lego, which of course a lot of kids have access to a lot of Lego, so they could use that. And then failing that altogether, you can also export it as a Minecraft figure. So you can actually import 3D printed designs into Minecraft as well. So Lego and Minecraft, two great ways of getting kids excited about the 3D printing stuff without having to have a 3D printer. Because these things, I mean, they're a lot cheaper now, but they're still fiddly. I mean, they still require somebody there all the time. They're not quick, right? You're not printing, these are like, a lot of these things are overnight prints. And so who's looking after that at school? Like that was look, I tried to donate that to our local school numerous times. And there were concerns about fire and that it was going to print more of itself and take over the planet. I mean, there's a lot of people who don't understand what 3D printing is, and I'm leaning this way so you can see it. So I wanted to donate that to the school, and I thought I would get another one. As it turns out, Prusa sent me another one, which just blows my freaking mind. And it's a multi-filament one, so I can have 5 different colors printing. It's extraordinary machine, and a wonderful, boy, I enjoyed that build. It was tough, but it was a great build. Both of these great builds, by the way. So I wanted to donate this to the school. It scared them. Like the spiders, it scared them. And I realized that, education has been around for a long time. There's a big, clunky system built up around the education system. And I'm guessing there's probably as many buildings of lawyers involved as there are teachers. So they're so terrified of, I guess, screwing up or something going wrong if they take a risk by doing something new. And so I gave up on trying to get them to accept this and put it in their library or whatever. I guess they were concerned they were going to have to hire another person and all that. Anyway, so basically what I thought was, perfect, let's just freaking do it here. The kids can, as long as I can figure out some way to get the kids to come and go as they need to without me having to necessarily be there to let them in, or just have a few kids looking after the place while I'm not around. I'm usually around anyways. I mean, it's only when I'm filming that I'm not around. I could just kick them out. I could just lock the doors then. But it's like the idea of them having a place that they can go to do this stuff, because even the online stuff that I'm doing, it's just giving. They've got a place to talk about stuff. Like, I'm learning stuff that I would never know as a parent. I mean, they're discussing things with me that my son doesn't discuss with me, and my son's part of the freaking Tech Bandits. I learned stuff from my son online in Tech Bandits that I would never know just speaking to him on a daily basis. So I don't know, I love it. Resin printers seem pretty awesome. Yeah, the resin printers are like the precision is gorgeous. My fear with the resin ones is the odor. There's I mean, and there's a lot of chemicals involved. So I just I just feel like around the kids, it may not be the best thing to do in my basement. I have a I basically, I just by threatening Jane with the idea of being single with her with one child, it would be very difficult for her. That's the only thing that's really keeping her with me at this point. So I feel like if I start putting a lot of fumes in the basement, that and that might be the final thing that finds me alone in the basement. So have you heard of the PlayStation game creation tool called Dreams? It is an incredible tool for teaching coding. Oh, thank you, Johnny Wednesday. I shall have a look. Creation game called Dreams. Okay, the chemicals are toxic. Oh, great. Thanks, John Leeper. Yeah, that's my concern. You can get low odor resins. They're still toxic, so need to be careful with them. Yeah, this is it. I just feel like, look, for myself, absolutely. I'll freaking get one and put it in the garage. I think that's fantastic to play with. And again, as long as you're in an environment where you've got like fans and ventilation and stuff in the garage, I'll just like open the garage door, be fine. I just don't think in the house it makes sense for me. And also, I just don't think around the kids that I want them dealing with any spills and stuff. It's just too easy, too easy. Big Extractor fan, yeah. Good morning, Emperador. How are you? You got a question? Is there a technology that really changed your life? Well, the phone. I think the mobile phone was the biggest one for me. I mean, the idea that all of a sudden I shouldn't say the mobile phone. I think it's an internet connected phone was the thing that changed my life, because all of a sudden you had directions, which absolutely changed my life. I mean, the funny thing is, like, if you're like an anxious little ADHD folk like me, getting places, you get very anxious about how to get there, when to get there, and all that kind of stuff. So the tools available on the cell phone now that allow you to not get lost, even for idiots who can get lost in a box like me, made a huge, huge difference. So I think the constant contact, the accessibility always of things to learn and things to, I've always got a podcast going or an article going or a map going, trying to tell me where the hell I am. That's like completely the whole stress of figuring out how to get places has been relieved for me entirely, entirely. Photography as well with the connected phone. The idea that these phones have cameras that are better than anything I ever. I used to love. I was talking to an old friend the other day, and she was saying, are you still doing a lot of photography? And I was like, it's the phone. I used to carry a cool little DSLR around with me, and I loved it. I love the technology of the DSLR. I love all the geeky side of it. But the reality is, for just getting that shot, for that memory you want, or documenting something, or even this, like, look, I'm talking to you on a freaking iPhone. Like, how ridiculous! I'm not even using the good cameras. I'm using the cameras that face me. It's just extraordinary. So I would have to say, I think the internet connected phone. It has completely changed my life. I would have originally said maybe like, Netflix when it first came out, and it was forcing you to make a list of films that you wanted so they could send them to you. That revolutionized my watching of films. Now I feel it's a bit like an online version of those freaking what is it, the video of an old like video store. Like, it's an old Blockbuster. It's like going online to a Blockbuster and seeing all of this crap, and you're wading through trying to find the stuff you want, and the stuff you want is never in this store. It's always in another store. Like, you go to look for one thing, it's always somewhere else. And I feel like I'm back in the Blockbuster days. So I imagine there will be another revolution of some sort that will sort of change it again. Some sort of aggregator or something that can figure this stuff out, because I find it very. I am growing a mycelium network. I am. It's true. Although mine is a rather detached. Mine is an air gapped mycelium network, I would say. It is amazing though, isn't it? So some of these mushrooms are part of a network that is that can be miles and miles long. They can be. They can consume entire forests and stuff. And I thought it was kind of neat that before the mushrooms that ate wood existed, we had oil, and then oil was no longer being produced because these little babies right here were eating the materials. So I just thought that was kind of cool. That up until these mushrooms showed up, all these massive amounts of trees and plant stuff was being was dying, decaying, and being compressed into oil. And then these mushrooms showed up, and then it's like, no, enough of that. I'll take all those. Thank you very much. So I thought that was kind of neat. Falling bombs and flying cars. What's that? Yeah, where are the flying cars? That's a good question. I want my flying car. You know what I think is neat though is that Amazon has now got, certainly the States, has got the right to start doing some drone deliveries, which I'm kind of looking forward to. SG1 is on Netflix, but not Atlantis. Oh my God. I don't understand the licensing at all. I'm sorry. I never realized that mushrooms ended that. Now, Easy Sparky, double check that always because, I'm just brilliant on television, not for real. I'm pretty sure that's what they said, that there's a link between a certain type of fungus or mushroom that ate that consumed the trees. But you may want to check on that. What do we got here? Going places with my anxiety as it is a trial. Having a tool to help that doesn't halt the anxiety entirely, but it does take away some of the mystery. So I ventured out more often. Oh, that's interesting. So Rebel, so you suffer from the same thing as me. I used to go to auditions a day in advance to find out where it was. Because I couldn't sleep. I was getting so tense about stuff. I found that honestly, the getting to the audition and the process of getting to the room itself was so stressful for me. Once I got into the room, it's like you're in your element. Like I know this stuff. I know how to play the part. I know how to work the camera. I know how to talk to people about film and acting and all that crap. But the whole life skills required to get there, oh my God, I used to just like freak out, absolutely freak out. Comet TV has SG1 for all kinds of sci-fi for free. Oh, okay, good to know. Comet TV. What's that? But where is that? Like, where in the world is Comet TV? Where in the world is Comet TV? A lot of people do that, David. A lot of people, I'm sure. Yeah. I grew up with Stargate. It's amazing sitting here listening to you live. Ha! Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you're here. As I say, this is not about looking good or being brilliant. It's just about saying hi, really. And drinking coffee. Broadcast. So someone was asking about podcasts. So the podcast thing is an interesting question. First off, what do you call two actors in LA? A podcast. I feel like everyone and their mother's dog is doing a podcast. And and while those mother's dog podcasts may be interesting, I just feel like there's an awful lot of them out there. I also feel like I think I communicate better. I wave my arms around a lot. I get excited about things. I like having, sets of mushrooms and things. I like having things around me to point at and stuff. So I feel like a podcast. I'm sure there are a lot of people who just listen to this in the background. And that's fine too. I'm aware that sometimes some of the visual stuff won't translate, and that obviously you can go further with the audio stuff, but an actual full-on organized podcast. Again, I feel like there's a lot of people out there. I think if I had a really specific, great concept to go with, I would do that. I also feel like because there's so much stuff going on for me already. I find life too much to deal with, let alone also work and then this stuff. So I think one of the goals for 2021, maybe 2022 now, I guess, will be to maybe get someone to give me a hand. I feel like I should hire someone who maybe isn't a part of the great sci-fi, my fellow sci-fi nerddom. Get someone who wants to do this and wants to help, build a channel and content and stuff like that, who can keep track of this stuff, who can schedule it for me. Because I'm all over the place. I flit around I'm a freaking actor, for God's sake. It's like herding cats. Always kind of busy right now. See you tomorrow. Okay, go Amaya. Have fun. Thanks for coming by. I like video streams better, so keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, I wouldn't do one or the other. I would probably just what I could possibly do, I suppose, is do these with an eye towards going audio and just sort of maybe do a little more visual explanation of stuff if they needed to. But and then I suppose you could listen to it with audio anyways. But honestly, it's just one more thing for me to do right now. Scanners too. Oh, Johnny, wasn't that a wonderful? That was a lot of hair ago. I have not seen that film for a long time, a very, very long time. Boy, God, that was a murderous process to film that. But man, my biggest joy out of Scanners 2 was actually that there was an article in Fangoria about it, and I thought, this is it. This is it, because I used to read Fangoria all the time. I love Fangoria magazine, so I was actually in Fangoria magazine for Scanners 2, and that was just extraordinary. But the process of making that film was, oof, it was horrible. It was, oh God, it was just terrible. And the film itself, let's face it. I mean, there was some neat visual stuff in there, but it was, yeah, it was. Let's just say the claim to fame for Scanners 2 was that Cronenberg directed the first one. It's surreal seeing you as a blonde. I was blonde. That's the weird thing is I was blonde. Like I'm like mousy brown now, but I was, as a kid, I was a little blonde haired, blue eyed, little Anglo kid. All right, off topic, but I'm so happy to see you in Suits. Yeah, Suits is fantastic. Oh God, what a beautiful show that is. And I got to work with Gabriel, which I really like Gabriel. I thought he's just an interesting guy, very, very into VR and stuff. I think was his. He had a lot of VR podcasts and stuff that he recommended. So yeah, that was really fun, really fun. Huge audience on Suits. I couldn't believe how many people were on Suits. Now, by the way, everybody should be watching on Thursday. Anyone who still watches terrestrial television. I got to admit, I went to cable. I watched the halftime show because The Weeknd, Canadian and kind of a brilliant singer. So though I don't love his lyrics, I do love his music. He was fantastic. And then, of course, Queen Latifah. I could watch anything with Queen Latifah in it. So I watched The Equalizer, which was just kind of fun. It was like watching an 80s television show. It really was. And she's just like the freaking coolest. So yeah, so Queen Latifah on The Equalizer was great. And then so Thursday, on the same channel, actually, I'm on the same channel as Queen Latifah, is Clarice. So Clarice is something that I just you'll see a familiar face, not in the first couple of episodes, but a little further down. You may hear a familiar voice now and again. But yes, I will be showing up in that at some point soon. But honestly, I don't usually say this about shows. This one's really, it's really interesting. It's kind of not what you think it's going to be. Like, you think it's going to be just full on Silence of the Lambs stuff, because it's basically a continuation of Silence of the Lambs. But it's got this kind of fun retro kind of 80s thing that they're doing. And they're really exploring, they're almost doing kind of like a Mad Men thing with like exploring that time at the FBI and with VICAP, violent crimes and stuff. Like just this very sort of male dominated profession, and how women and people of color and minorities and stuff. It's just a lot of really cool twists and turns that have sometimes nothing to do with the crimes themselves. So I said the other day that I was sitting in on a read through, and I was in the first episode, but not the second. And I suppose one could, have just done the first episode and then said, "Thank you very much, everyone. Very good luck," and off you go. But I actually stayed because I wanted to know what happened in the next episode. Because I don't get the episodes that I'm not in. I guess it's like a policy that they don't send the scripts to people who aren't in the episodes. I guess they're worried about people like pirating it or something. So I wasn't in the next episode, which I don't think gives anything away. And so I had to stay and listen to. It was amazing. Like, listen to all these brilliant freaking actors do their stuff. It was just extraordinary, really fun. So yeah, go check out Clarice. I'm sure they'll probably do some. I think they did it with the Queen Latifah show as well. I think they did some online stuff as well, where you could see like the first episode or two. But yeah, so there's a really neat claptrap. There's a really neat kind of Mad Men like. It's subtle, but they're definitely playing with the sort of the gender, sexual politics, racial issues. From the 80s perspective, 80s, 90s, I don't know where it is now. Actually, I don't know what it's all recent history to me. So there you go. I knew it. Candace knew it. I don't again, no one said anything about me being involved, and I probably shouldn't be saying anything, but just watch Clarice. I honestly, yeah, I just think they're doing a really, really good job of it, So there, you'll get it to Australia, which is the irony being Sardonic Spirals is the fabulous woman who plays Clarice is Australian. She is Australian, so you have to go follow her on Twitter and tell her Hewlett sent you, and that you want to find out when it's showing on in Australia because she's magnificent. She's amazing. She's doing a southern accent. She does it really well, but she's like much better than that, I might say. But she's Australian. It's just it's extraordinary. I just the Australians and the Brits, they freaking rule. They rule Hollywood, man, for absolutely all the right reasons. Anyways. Have you ever uploaded your Samsung smartwatch watch face for us to download? Fat produce. The problem, no, I haven't. And I'll tell you why. Because Samsung has a shop. And that's the only way you could share these stupid things is through this shop. If anyone's got another way of doing it, if I could just share raw files, then I'd be happy to. Because I mean, yeah, the whole thing. The reason why I made it was I made it. Yeah, it is a nice plug, Amanda. I did good marketing. See, uh, you know, yeah, sorry. The whole point of the oh Jesus, no, I've lost what I was saying now. What was I saying? Facer's good app. Where are we at? Nice plug. Equalizer series. What's up with the shrooms? Growing them should be fun. Just realized I'm watching very late. Oh, Gorilla, go sleep. Yes, the smartwatch. So the smartwatch thing. If there's a way of just uploading the raw files, that'd be amazing. That'd be absolutely amazing. But I couldn't figure out how to do it. And I got frustrated because Samsung makes it so freaking difficult. And you have to charge for it. I was like, I'm not charging for. I don't want they need tax numbers and stuff, and so I don't know if someone lets me know what files they need. Go maybe like pop it on a Twitch stream or something at some point, and maybe just let me know what files you need, and I can dump them up onto Discord or whatever. I should look them up actually. I've got them somewhere, but it's really simple. It's a bunch of image files, and I've just coded them to rotate and blink a little. I mean, it's no big deal. All right, real talk question, Jared. What do you got? And then I should move. Real talk question for David. Been thinking about it all morning. What do you think the origin of humanity is? Well, I would go with what the term for it is, but I do believe that I would not be surprised if we were sort of accidentally inoculated, if something like an asteroid or something inoculated our planet, basically. Like I feel like I would not be surprised if some roaming asteroid or space debris crashed down on our planet at some point and contributed to the creation of that fabulous primordial ooze from which we crawled. So yeah, panspermia. I guess I would say panspermia would be my guess at the origins of humanity. I also think it's just kind of sexy. I think it's just kind of cool that why would this randomly show up here? You know what I mean? Like I know that it's possible, and maybe I'm making it too complicated. So I would say in first position, I hope and dream that it's panspermia, which is the whole idea that somehow the seeds of life were landed on our planet in some way, shape, or form. I like to think of that because from my little sci-fi mind and from my own, I love that concept. I think it's just such a neat little package. My second one would definitely be just, it's just a fortuitous combination of chemicals and heat and methane and gas and possibly some cellular clay activity that somehow managed to create the combinations of amino acids or whatever that require that created life. From what I got from my the great courses biology thing that I took, it seems like they got pretty close. They got pretty close in the lab to creating some organic materials. It's a bit of a jump to go to life, but just that. I mean, you got to think that Earth was not like this when it first started. I mean, like that when life began at some point pre-life on this planet was a very different place, right? So, you know, oxygen has been created over time, and oxygen is very good at breaking down organic matter, and thus makes it almost impossible for it to sort of spontaneously happen here. But or I assume it would makes it difficult, if not impossible. But the idea that that there wasn't as much of it, if any, at all, when this planet was well, when life was beginning to could potentially have formed on this planet. So anyway, look, that's so my two. So panspermia number one, and basically just I don't know what the term would be. I think I saw Jim the Evo in here. He'll know the name for it, but I don't know what the term for spontaneous for the spontaneous creation of life through accidental combinations of events. I don't know what that would be called. It's funny hearing you talk about the earth and life itself with the mushrooms in your shot. Yeah, you see, this is what I would miss in a podcast. You wouldn't be able to see my little head sprouting out of a little, what are they called of mushrooms? What do they call a little thing of mushrooms? Ooh, abiogenesis. So basically singular biological genesis. So is that coming from like the idea of alone? Abiogenesis, abiogenesis or abiogenesis. Okay, great. So we learned something. There you go. Burn and learn. Thank you, James. As always. Sorry, always going for the big brain. James is big brain. Go check him out. James R. Gurney. He's Jim the Evo on YouTube. Don't call him Jim, though. His name is James. And James R. Gurney on the twitch.tv. So go check him out. And of course, check us out, too, for that matter. We are Tech Banditry on Twitch. And then, of course, you've got my YouTube channel, D. Hewlett, where I post all the stuff that we end up doing. And then yeah, go check out thetechbandits.com, too, which is where is my little playground, my little online playground for tech bandits and stuff. And yeah, go and actually, if I've got you and you haven't signed up for the mailing list, please do go get in there, sign up, and tell me where you live, not specifically, but just the country and the city, so that I can put a map. I want to put a map of everybody and have like little dots where everyone is, and I think that'd be kind of cool. So yes, James is awesome. It's very true, Easy Sparky. You have spoken the truth. All right, if it's set up, that is what? Ottawa. Don't tell me now. I won't remember all this, rascally rabbit. Saw a documentary some weeks ago, but it said oxygen was poison to first life on Earth. Yeah, because oxygen, like it breaks it down, right? Isn't that the idea? Apparently, Jim the Evo is all right. That's good to know. Ryan just says it actually forces the whole address. What? It forces the whole address? Well, then just make up the first part. Fake, like just. Oh, okay. I'll address that then. That's this. Freaking MailChimp. Is there a simpler thing than MailChimp that I could use? You know? Where do you sign up? I missed that bit. Go to thetechbandits.com. And there's a sign up link there that you can go check out. Thetechbandits.com. Oh my God, I sound like a freaking infomercial. All right, I'm out of here. My bottom is, I'm saying it again, my bottom is very flat because I'm sitting on a tool chest, and it's not really a good way to stretch after all that freaking yoga that my wife made me do. When is the map coming up? Good question, Crazy Nut Denmark. I don't know. When I figure out how to do it. All right. Okay, everybody. I shall say be safe, be kind, be brilliant. And until we geek again, I will say cheerio and huzzah! And I'll see you, hopefully see you tomorrow. And maybe tonight. Again, I've said this a few times and then not come through, but I'd love to get together with the Tech Bandits, so I'm hoping I can chat with them at some point as well. But I'm hoping I'll be able to do a Burn and Learn tomorrow before I'm dragged off to my Clarice stuff. So all right, cheerio, huzzah, bye.